Today on the podcast, I'm going to talk about a couple of different ways that are kind of a bit left of field, left of center on how you can use social media. So if you're interested in using social media just a little bit differently to perhaps how you're using it now, then tune in. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, my podcast family. Welcome to episode 61 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I sincerely appreciate you making me one of them. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, then super welcome to you. I'm really happy to have you here, and I can't wait for you to listen into this episode because it's a bit of a cracker. It's my job here on the Small Business Made Simple podcast to make your business life a little bit simpler. One of the ways that I love doing this is by having a group called Like-Minded Business Owners on Facebook. If you're not a member of the Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group, then hop over and join. We would love to have you there. It's a great little place where you can get to interact and join in conversations with other small business owners just like yourself. You can either go to the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/61 and see the link there. Otherwise, just type Like-Minded Business Owners in your search bar in Facebook and join up. I am a little bit excited for this episode, but I also just, before I head into that, I wondered if you've downloaded my free ebook, 108 Social Media Content Creation Ideas. If you're struggling with social media, with content creation and ideas around that, then this little free ebook is a sensational little resource for you. If you're interested in grabbing a copy, just go to the W's 108social.com.au, as in the numerals 108.com.au. Sorry, that's not even right. 108social.com.au and download it there. Make sure when you do get it though, that you print it out and put it somewhere where you can look at it all the time. So when you're lacking inspiration, it's there to help. I'm really looking forward to this episode because I've had a few conversations recently with people. I've talked about earworms a couple of times, and this is another earworm of mine because I have these conversations with small business owners, and sometimes I think, okay, I've had this conversation enough times, we need to have a talk about it. Some of the things that I will talk about today, I've actually been the learner in, so someone has told me this, and other times I've been the teacher, and I have actually passed on some wisdom to some other people. But every time, it's either I get the look or the other person gets the look on the face. You know, that look of, why haven't I thought about this before? That look. You know the look. If you put it into terms of emojis, you would probably be the person slapping their face, you know, that whole, or shrugging their shoulders. Like, seriously, why have I not thought about this before? So some of you will listen to this episode and only take away the fact that you're already awesome and you're doing these great things. Other people listening will actually come back with that look on their face, that why haven't I thought about this before look. Either way, I really hope you enjoy these tips. I'm actually going to start with the tip that I was a learner in, that someone has taught me this, and it's about pop-up Facebook groups. We tend to think of Facebook groups as something that we need to be constantly nurturing, constantly adding value to, and some people are simply turned off by the idea of this. There's already so much to do in business. I simply can't do a Facebook group because it would be just one more thing on my list I would have to do, and I just don't have time. Enter the pop-up group. I actually heard it for the first time talked about on a podcast by Amy Porterfield, and it was all around, you know, launching courses or launching things, and it got me thinking about all sorts of launches. But it wasn't until I was organising my very first networking event, which I did in February, and I reached out to the Beyonce of networking, Kelly Briggs. And if you haven't checked out her podcast, Business Networking by Design, then I suggest you do. But Kelly suggested that everyone who'd already bought tickets to my networking event, to throw them into a pop-up Facebook group where they could get to know each other before they even turned up on the night. And it was that face. Like, why didn't I think of that? That is just pure gold. It was such great advice. You know, for anyone who was perhaps a little bit nervous about turning up to a networking event that didn't have a bestie to come with them, they were purely comfortable because they already knew some people or knew of some people because of this pop-up Facebook group. Now, I can tell you that one of the pieces of feedback that I got probably 4 or 5 times from my networking event, which just blew my mind, is people said it was like walking into a room of family members I hadn't met yet. That was just so welcoming. And I really do credit some of that to the fact that we had this pop-up Facebook group beforehand. I credit also the beautiful women who turned up and how giving and how abundant mindset they were, but also I think that the Facebook group helped. So what do you do inside your business that a pop-up group could be perfect for? So a pop-up group, I think, would last between 7 and 30 days, for instance. But during that time, you're going to have a really engaged group, a group that exists for one purpose, and nurturing is on a whole other level. Perhaps you might have a VIP sale coming up or doing a collaboration with another business owner. Maybe you're launching a new product or a new service. You just have to think, if I had a closed group of highly engaged people who want to buy or who have already bought, I'd be able to insert whatever your desired outcome is and then give it a go. And hey, you know what? If it's a flop, which it isn't going to be, then, it's a pop-up group anyway. So you can close it down. You're always going to close it down. Of course, you should always have somewhere for these people to go. So just don't slam the door on them when you shut down the group. Let them know what you're doing and let them know what is the next step for them. Where are they going to go next? Or how can they stay engaged with A, the people in the group, or B, you after the group has shut down? But I really would like you to sit back and think to yourself, how could a Facebook pop-up group work inside my business? And if you can't think of anything, then just put that little thought in that safe space where ideas go inside your brain, because believe me, it will come to you and this will be a brilliant idea eventually. So another conversation I often have with people, with small business owners, is around tech, especially around programs that people buy and then implement into their business. So my little point here is all about how to get your tech questions answered, because it's something I'm so often asked, do you know how to do this or that? Or do you use this program because I need some help? And of course, my biggest piece of advice, if you purchase a program or a piece of tech in your business, join the Facebook community for that piece of tech. Oh my goodness, it's like the members can't answer you quick enough with their expertise to look like the biggest expert in the group. It is amazing. Don't wait for call centers or send emails. Join the group for that piece of tech and just ask away. I recently changed email providers to Flowdesk, and it's amazing. I love Flowdesk. If you want a fabulous email provider and you want to increase your open rate and have your emails to your list looking absolutely fabulous and people asking, how did you actually do that? Then have a look at Flowdesk. I've actually got a special link at bit.ly, so bit.ly/loveflowdesk. So you follow that link. It's also in the show notes at socialmediamarketing.com.au/61. But check out Flowdesk. But anyway, back on track. I just love Flowdesk so much. I love spreading the word. But back on track. So I recently changed to Flowdesk, and when I was getting a workflow up, so a workflow is a series of emails that are triggered by an event. Like if you click this link, you will get this, or if you open that email, you get this email. and I was completely lost. So I joined the group. I put up a post on a Saturday night. Yes, because I am that person who is so boring. They are doing workflows on a Saturday night. And boom, someone answered. And what they said was perfect and it worked. And I could move on again in literally minutes. I was really surprised how quickly they answered. And that wasn't the only question I put in there. I put 4 or 5 questions in there over the series of time that I've been learning how to use Flowdesk. I've asked questions in the Camtasia group and the Lipson group. These are programs that I use for this podcast. And it's like an untapped resource. And when people ask me tech questions and I respond with, have you joined the group on Facebook and asked there, I'm often given the look, the why didn't I think of that look. So next time you have a tech question, look for answers there. And if you belong to the community, give too. You are bound to know something someone else doesn't, or maybe you've already asked this question and therefore you can pass on the help that you got. That's what social media is all about. I really hope these really 2 simple little tips lit something inside you and that you'll start thinking about social media just a little bit different and how your life or your business life can be made a little bit simpler using social media and maybe thinking about these tips. This episode was a little short one. I'm sure you're all happy for that, but that is all for episode 61. I will be back next Thursday, of course, with another great episode and showing you how to simplify your business in 2020. If you're enjoying this podcast, I would really love for you to do me a favor or 2 and subscribe to the podcast for a start, as I have some exciting exclusive content coming up really soon that only people who subscribe to the podcast will get. And I would love it if you could share this episode with a friend, another superstar business owner who is doing the daily grind, who just might appreciate some of these tips in today's episode. Of course, you can always leave me a rating and a review. I would absolutely love those. I read them. They're very heartwarming and I so appreciate everyone who leads one. Of course, I will be back next week for episode 62. But in the meantime, if you want to hang out on social, let's get social on social. You will find me at Instagram, Facebook, and my favorite, LinkedIn. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, remember, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Tell I can feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are.